I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and if Mobile World Congress 2012 was any indicator, LG's trying to get into that phablet, kind of high-end, big smartphone field, and they're doing so with the LG Intuition on Verizon Wireless. Is it too late, though, with the Galaxy Note 2 coming out later in the year on 5 carriers in the US? We'll find out in the full review, which starts right now. If you're on Verizon and you don't have the option to get the Galaxy Note, and for whatever reason you don't want to wait for the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, well, you've got another phablet or huge smartphone option available to you. The LG Intuition, originally the Optimus View, announced in February at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. And special thanks to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with a bunch of devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your clock settings, your Gmail settings, and more. So when you walk out the door, you're good to go. Optimus, also known as the Intuition, in the house here on Verizon, available now at Verizon retail stores for $199.99, and it's packing a decent spec list. It's got a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 5-inch display, 2080 milliamp hour non-removable battery, an 8 megapixel camera on the back with 1080p HD video recording, and it comes with a rubber diem pin. Now, obviously there's no place to put the pin on the device itself, so much unlike the Samsung Galaxy Note and Note 2, there's no pin holder or anything like that. You have to carry it around as an added accessory, but it does come in the box, and it's called rubber diem, or as I call it, rubber diem, depending on your individual pronunciation of it. 5-inch display, Android 4.0 with LG's custom user interface running atop of it. So different from the Optimus 4X HD. As far as I'm concerned, a little bit less useful for most people. That said, if you want this big device, and obviously because of the aspect ratio, it is a 4:3 aspect ratio, it's huge. So unlike the Samsung Galaxy Note, it's a little bit harder to hold in the hand. Take a look at it just in comparison, and later in the week I should have a dogfight for you. But you can see, even though the Note's pretty big, it's still relatively easy to hold in the hand. If you have big hands, at least you can wrap your fingers around it a little bit easier. Over here, this one looks a lot more like a book, so it is harder to hold in day-to-day use. Even I can't wrap my hands around the LG Intuition. But coming with Android 4.0, LG's custom user interface, and a lot of Verizon stuff pre-installed. As you can see here, it is available right now. Android 4.0 on this device out of the gate. You've got your back button, your home button, recent applications, as you can see here, and then a physical menu button as well. All of these are capacitive, and over on the right side, you've got your volume rocker up here at the top. You've got your power button right here, your micro USB charging port here running beside, and I'm going to wait for that to focus in. Micro USB charging port running with a door here, so you can slide the door back and forth to access the micro USB charging port. A button here, which you can press to access the quick memo functionality on this device and use that rubber diem pin to take notes and do things like that. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack up top. Then you've got your micro SIM card slot right here, which I can pull it out and show you. Let's see what we've got here. So it actually is a removable tray. No, just kidding, it's not a removable tray. You can see right there, there is the micro SIM card slot. And that is it. You get your buttons on the front. So 5-inch display, 4:3 aspect ratio. Out of the gate, you get some Verizon pre-installed applications. Amazon Kindle, Vcast apps, Audible, quite a bit out of the box. And you get LG's custom icons, as you can see here. File Manager, File Share, Finance, all of these LG things out of the box. And then you get some Verizon stuff, as well as the NFC tag, which is nice. So if you watched me with Tech Tiles on any of the Samsung devices, the Galaxy S3, the Note 2, NFC's, or LG's Tag Plus is very similar to that on the LG side, at least. Mobile hotspot, My Verizon Mobile, Google integration here, obviously with Google Play Movies and Music, Vcast Tones, Visual Voicemail, VZ Navigator, and then of course Viewdini, VideoWiz. And then you get a little game here, Shark Dash and Real Racing 2. I don't think you can uninstall these, but I didn't do it the proper way. So we'll go back in and check and see if you can get rid of those. I don't believe you can. Nope, looks like you can't get rid of any of the Verizon pre-installed applications there. Also, you have folders up here in the menu structure for downloads and for widgets, so you can easily access your widgets and scroll through those like this. And much like TouchWiz on the later Samsung devices, I love how they keep apps and widgets separate. An Ice Cream Sandwich and a Jelly Bean, I think it's much easier than stock Android where it scrolls between apps and widgets, or in this case, apps, downloads, and widgets. Makes it a little bit cleaner and easier to operate, so that's something I like a whole lot. So obviously your sound button there. Go back to apps, and we'll take a look at messaging. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the personalization, because I am quick to dog LG's user interface in comparison to HTC, in comparison to Samsung, and heck, even in comparison to Motorola's most recent user interface. This thing is far behind. It needs to play some catch up, and play some catch up relatively quickly if it wants to compete in the US market. So you can see here, relatively quick, little to no lag. I do see a little bit of lag from time to time, but it just still does not feel optimized for Android. I notice it in settings when I'm scrolling every now and again. It won't recognize my gesture properly, or perhaps when I'm typing I notice it as well. It's much like I've said this since the Optimus 4X HD. I said this in the Spectrum review. I've said this in a lot of LG reviews over 2012. It's just really frustrating to see that kind of issue with touch responsiveness. So hopefully they'll get that fixed and get that better integrated with future versions of their user interface and future versions of Android as well. Let's take a look at messaging out of the gate here and see what comes pre-installed. You do get some keyboards. I'll show you right here, LG's keyboard, and actually it's made some improvements over previous versions. So if you're used to the Spectrum on Verizon, and you're like, hey, forget about this, I hate the keyboard, I'll download something from the Google Play Store, well, feel free to. You can obviously do that. But this one is a little bit better than what we remember from previous builds. So I'll just say Quick Brown Fox is ready for the weekend. Portrait to landscape transitions nice and fast. Quick Brown Fox is always ready for the weekend. He must like to party. And then over here, LG keyboard, Google voice typing, that's all you get out of the gate. Of course, there are third-party alternatives in the Google Play Store. SwiftKey, there's a Jelly Bean keyboard and Ice Cream Sandwich keyboard that I really like as well. Your ability to attach stuff over here. Then you got your menu button down here where you can add subject, insert smileys, and more. So you've got the capability to do that. I like the features here. Very quick, very easy to use, and again, not the best keyboard in the world by any means. It pales in comparison to HTC's keyboard, Samsung's Android 4.0 and up keyboard, and Motorola's keyboard as well, but still a solid improvement across the board for LG. Let's also look at 4G LTE capabilities by loading up the browser and bringing up PhoneDog.com, not FoamDog.com. Let's load up PhoneDog.com. There we go. We'll load up PhoneDog.com. 4G LTE capabilities on the LG Intuition on Verizon, and obviously this is one area where this giant 5-inch display is going to come in handy, and it's where it's going to come in handy because of the odd aspect ratio web browsing. When it comes to music, watching videos, and web browsing, this should be a great device for you. If you're really looking for a device to consume media on, I would highly recommend this, or maybe the Galaxy Note or the Galaxy Note 2, just because of the raw size of the device, where it's still kind of pocketable, although the aspect ratio of this device makes it pushing it when it comes to pocketability. But portrait to landscape transitions nice and fast, pinch to zoom relatively responsive here. Here's the PhoneDog page, and you have your individual pages here where I can add a new one, and it brings up thumbnail images where I can scroll back and forth, and of course my settings down here, typical Android 4.0 settings over here, request desktop site, save for offline reading, go to home page, and more. So PhoneDog loads up relatively quickly, and I've been overall pretty impressed with Verizon's 4G LTE speeds, even in a saturated market like Charlotte. 5 to 12 megabits per second is what they guarantee on the download. 2 to 5 megabits per second is what they guarantee on the upload, and they've delivered it as well. So that's good on them, and especially good for LG Intuition first-time buyers. So you got that. You got your context. Well, I want to show you some of the customization choices. Obviously, like any Android device, you can move stuff in and out of this area that you see fit. You can download or put Play Store in there. You can move messaging in and out. You can kind of customize and make it your own. And you have 7 home screens here as well, where you can set a default home screen. The center one is my default home screen, but there are some customization choices I really like in LG's latest user interface. One of those is up here. So much like Samsung with TouchWiz, you got your shortcuts up at the top where you can access NFC, Bluetooth, quick memo, sound, GPS, airplane, etc. pretty easily. Well, not only can you access those, but you can edit those as well. And this is something I really like. So let's say, I don't use NFC that often. I like to use my wallet and have physical credit cards. Well, let's say I use GPS all the time. I can scroll up and put GPS up at the top. I can put airplane mode up there because let's be honest, I'm on a plane like every week. So airplane mode's important. And then I can go back out and go back and take a look at this, and you can see it customizes it to the ones that I use the most. You can get rid of some if you want to. Go over here to edit. Actually, I don't think you can get rid of them. I take that back. But you can go to more if you want to, and you should be able to, take it back. There you go. So we can get rid of GPS, NFC, Bluetooth, quick memo, sound profile. Let's just get rid of some of these and see what happens. If it's just airplane mode, I'm curious what it'll look like, because I haven't actually, there you go. Airplane and edit, so it just makes it a giant button. You can come in here and do the ones that matter the most to you. You can customize them, and that's that kind of thing that I really like about later versions of user interfaces on Android 4.0 and up. This customization is crucial in 2012 because, let's be honest, from a hardware standpoint, we're kind of getting stale. We can't really go past the Snapdragon S4 CPU or the quad-core Exynos processor So it's all about software, and these individual OEMs have to distinguish themselves amongst their competitors with software. And so you can see the kind of customization stuff with the home screen as well here. You got theme options, so I can go into business, sketch, and you'll notice down here that all of the icons change slightly depending on which theme I go with. So for example, take a look at the contacts there. It's kind of a dark brown over here. It's kind of typical LG, kind of a lighter kind of orange. And then you've got, and let's cancel out of that, light. You've got an orange one there, and then sketch is slightly different as well. So obviously, depending on which one you choose, it's going to change the icons. And that's a pretty cool little feature there. Change the icons. You can change the font size, obviously, and it's loading up a new theme. But I want to show you one other cool thing that I thought was particularly neat as well. And I did just say neat, so don't judge me. Theme, let me find, and they may have disabled it. Actually, they may have disabled it in the Verizon version. On the Optimus 4X HD, you could customize. Oh, no, you can do it. There you go, browser. So obviously the browser button looks different. I can go in here and choose my own custom browser button. So let's say whenever I think of the internet, I think of nature. I can make that the browser. Or whenever I go to phone, I can customize it. And you know what, phone, let's make phone look like, let's make it a P. And so I can do that. That's a really cool feature to me. That's something that's not available on any other Android device outside of LG's user interface. You can customize the icons as you see fit. It's those kind of unique things that I think will bring some of these user interfaces ahead of their competitors. That said, they've got some work to do to integrate Android, integrate LG's user interface, and fuse them together where they work a little bit better and you don't see these kind of lags and stutters like we see from time to time, even now, on LG's user interface.